Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf and weekly download episode number 106. On today's episode, I'm going to be playing some Albion Online. When I give you this news, I got my cup of coffee right there. Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section what you're sipping on. And yes, this episode is mostly going to be about Nvidia and how I pre-ordered a 2080 Ti. Let's get into it. Alright, so to start off the Nvidia announcement recap, I really don't want to talk about anything that has been repeated 100 times already by the other YouTubers. We all know that Nvidia announced the 2080 Ti at $1,200, the 2080 at $800, and the 2070 at $600. All Jensen really talked about on stage was how great the ray tracing is, but we obviously still don't have any real benchmarks by the YouTubers yet. That's where I come in. As you guys may already know, I personally pre-ordered an RTX 2080 Ti, but I want you all to know that I definitely wouldn't have done that if I wasn't trying to grow my YouTube brand. All of these other tech YouTubers out there talking about not pre-ordering them, switching to used GPUs in 2018, etc., all have valid points, but we shouldn't listen to any of that, literally nothing of it, until we see some actual benchmarks. At this point in my YouTube career, I'm definitely not large enough to get GPU samples sent out to me, which is why I went ahead and pre-ordered one of them. I don't really have a use for anything less than a 2080 Ti because I currently have a 1080 Ti, so that's why I picked that one. For some of you optimists out there, I highly advise checking out Jay's 2 cents video, as he thinks the naming of this generation is just a little bit off from last year, meaning that this year's 2080 Ti is really a Titan, the 2080 is really the 80 Ti version, etc. Once again though, we have zero idea what any of this means and what's true or not because we haven't seen any real world benchmarks. The ray tracing looks amazing, and there's no doubt that the 20-some games that will utilize ray tracing will look amazing with these new cards, but most importantly, we need to know what kind of FPS numbers we'll get in every other game out there to justify the upgrade or not. A couple days after the event, Nvidia actually published some of their own benchmarks, which certainly look promising, but we have to take them with a grain of salt. The chart that they posted shows that the RTX 2080 is supposed to be 50% faster than a 1080, which is actually a huge improvement and something that I'm personally hopeful for. Based off this information, technically the RTX 2080 would be an upgrade for even a 1080 Ti, meaning that the 2080 Ti I ordered will be a humongous upgrade as well. Once again, for the final time though, let's hold off a few more weeks in talking about whether these cards are worth it or not until we actually get the benchmarks. Hashtag rant over. Moving on to something that'll make us all feel better, Zotac and Casing collaborated and showed off a custom PC that also functions as a coffee machine. As you can see in the picture here, there's a little Nespresso machine at the front of the case, which, as you guys know, is likely the greatest idea in the world to me personally. There's not too many other details here other than we do know that the heat dissipated from the CPU and GPU are not the same heat that goes into brewing the coffee. Boy, that would have been neat. Next up, HTC announced on Tuesday that pre-orders for the Vive wireless adapter will start in September. The cost of the wireless adapter kit will cost 300 bones, which isn't cheap by any means, but we shall see once and for all if wireless is the way to go for virtual reality. I haven't tried this for myself, I only have an Oculus Rift in the studio, but I just can't possibly imagine wireless performing on par with wired in terms of latency. Latency would play a huge factor in motion sickness and whatnot, so this thing has to be absolutely perfect for it to be worth it, at least in my opinion. And to wrap up the tech news for the week, Logitech announced yet another high-end wireless gaming mouse, the G Pro Wireless. The mouse comes in at a hefty $150 price tag, but it's rocking a baller sensor, only weighs 80 grams, and can be used for both righties and lefties. Logitech apparently collaborated with a bunch of esport athletes, and even Hardware Canucks stated it's the best wireless mouse they've ever used. Moving on to the PC gaming news for the week, some rough news came from Twitch this week stating that the Twitch Prime benefits are getting a significant cut down, which is actually a huge bummer. Everyone that's a Twitch Prime member should have gotten an email stating that as of October 15th, we will no longer have complete ad-free viewing on Twitch, and we'll only get that from the single streamer that we decide to give our Twitch Prime subscription to. They, however, do have a Twitch Turbo subscription service, which gives you universal ad-free viewing for $9 a month though, but no thanks. Next up, Valve rolled out that Linux update that I talked about last week, which is called Steam Play, and this allows Linux users access to Windows-only Steam games. Valve basically designed a new version of the Wine Linux distribution, which is called Proton, and you can go check this out right now for yourself if you're on Linux. As of right now during the beta, Valve only opened this up to 27 games, but this is certainly a step in the right direction for Linux gaming. If any of you are checking this out, by the way, please let me know what you think. In more Valve news, they also officially launched their new streaming website, Steam.tv, which is apparently their answer to Twitch dominating the streaming market. Right now on Steam.tv, you'll only find Dota 2's international tournament, which I'll talk about later, but I'm sure Valve will do everything that they can to entice content content creators to stream over there. This one should be pretty interesting to watch develop over the next several months. Once again, with the Valve news, I'm sure most of you that care are aware, but just in case you aren't, the Dota 2 International Tournament is almost wrapped up, and apparently it's been a pretty heated event. The International is basically the Super Bowl in the Dota 2 esports space, and with $25 million in prize money, it's kind of a big deal, so I thought I should let you guys know. And finally, to wrap up the PC gaming news for the week, Ubisoft's For Honor's Starter Edition went free to play on Steam this week, and it actually got surprisingly very popular quickly. At some point this week, there were over 200,000 people playing For Honor at the same time, which are numbers that we haven't seen since it first launched. The new Starter Edition grants you the basic story mode and multiplayer modes with 3 heroes that you can choose from. I actually kind of liked this game when I gave it a shot last year, and I've heard good things about Ubisoft turning the game around. We shall see if it's worth coming back to, I guess. Well, that wraps up weekly download episode number 106. Feel free to head on over to one of these 2 videos if you haven't seen them yet, and definitely hit that subscribe button because I'm currently working on a baller price to performance used build that doesn't involve a Dell Optiplex. You don't want to miss that video.